Good evening, this is Kyle Mitchell from SAK 11 News. I'm here to tell... What's that? Oh, breaking news. The CDC just released a new report over teen mental health. Yeah, cut the weather. We're going to dive straight into this report. If you had to guess based on the past 10 years, which of these situations have high school students experienced more of, or maybe less of, or have they really stayed the same over the past 10 years? Make a mental note of that because I'm about to give you the answer to that question. Last week, the CDC released their Youth Risk Behavior Survey Trends and Data Summary from 2011 to 2021. I know there is a teen mental health crisis, but this absolutely shocked me. Let's start with the first one that we showed on the list. Did you know that 42% of high school students felt sad or hopeless almost every day for 2 weeks in a row? This was true for over half of the female students and almost 30% of the male students. But have high school students felt more or less sad since 2011? As you can see here, we have a 50% increase in high school students who have felt sad or hopeless over the past decade. When you look at the female students specifically, you see a huge increase. These numbers are scary, and unfortunately, it gets even worse. Almost 1 in 4 high school students have seriously considered suicide. That's almost unbelievable that 22% of high school students feel that things are so bad that they've had serious suicidal thoughts. And it's probably not a huge shocker after looking over the numbers for males and females about feeling sad or hopeless that females more than double males when it comes to seriously considering suicide. In 2011, the percentage of students who had serious thoughts of considering suicide was at 16 compared to now, which is at 22. It's not a huge jump, but it's definitely not one to be ignored either. If you look directly at the numbers for females though, you see a significant jump. Knowing the percentage of high school students who have seriously considered suicide, what do you think the percentage of students are that have actually made a suicide plan in the past year? 18% of them, with the females once again doubling the males. This number has slowly trickled in the wrong direction since 2011. This next number I'm about to show you scared me, and it should scare you too. 10% of high school students attempted suicide in 2021. What's kind of interesting is that if you look at the male-female trends of high school students who seriously considered suicide, made a suicide plan, and attempted suicide, you'll notice that there has been almost no change for any of these for the males. But when you look at the females, there's a large increase for both considering suicide and making a suicide plan, but only a tiny increase in attempted suicide. Honestly, these numbers kind of make me curious why that is. Why do you think there is no change in males, but huge changes in females and everything except for attempted suicide? Let me know in the comments what you think. Let's see if the attempted suicide has gone up or down or the same over the past 10 years. I think you can probably guess that it has gone up, but not as much as I would have thought. It's gone from 8 to just 10% in 10 years. 8% is a high enough number to freak people out, as it should. But why the have we not done anything or talked about this until a decade later? I know this is a serious matter, but this really makes me think of Hank Hill in King of the Hill when he says, "Whose ass do I need to kick?"
Because I want to know whose ass to kick.
Because that's how I feel right now. I've saved this category for last because apparently 2021 is the first time we started tracking this. 29% of high school students have experienced poor mental health over the last 30 days. This number seems too low to be true? Also, how do they determine this? This data comes from a survey where one of the questions asks, have you experienced poor mental health over the past 30 days? But how do you define poor mental health? I feel like that's a very subjective thing. What I consider poor mental health may be completely different from what somebody else may consider poor mental health. I may say poor mental health to me is just feeling kind of anxious one day, but poor mental health to someone else, maybe having suicidal thoughts. So I feel like it's hard to really gauge this on what poor mental health is and how many percentage of students are actually feeling that way. I don't know. Take that stat with a grain of salt. And also let me know what you think. Do you think I have a point on the poor mental health thing and that being kind of subjective, or do you think there is a straightforward definition? And if you do, please let me know what that is. Overall, teen mental health has gotten dramatically worse over the last 10 years. And to be honest, it was horrible in 2011, which was when I graduated high school, and nobody was saying anything about mental health. In fact, my senior year of high school, we had one day where in our health class, we talked about mental health. And by one day, I mean we had 1 hour of a class one day where we talked about mental health. To think that 1 hour of talking about mental health per year would be beneficial to anyone is stupid. Like I said, we've had these stats on students for 10 years. For 10 years, we have known that mental health has been horrible for teenagers. Why did it take until COVID and the pandemic for people to start caring? That's something I think about a lot. Thank you all for watching. I know this is a little bit different type of video than I usually do, but this report literally came out last week, so I thought I'd be doing a disservice to not share kind of my thoughts and give you a quick overview on what I saw from the report and kind of let you know what's been going on over the past decade in teen mental health. I hope this has been helpful to you in some way, or at least maybe opened your eyes to what teen mental health really looks like now. If you're a teenager, share this with your school staff, your teachers. Let them know. I mean, even if you feel kind of awkward, just sharing a video to somebody about mental health, like do it anonymously, create a fake Gmail and then go look up your teacher's email and just shoot it out to them. Let them see these stats, because I can probably guess that they're not going to go and read this report like I did, but at least let them see this quick overview that I did and let them watch this. They need to know this stuff, and send it to your parents or whoever you may think might find value out of it. And I will see you all next week, where hopefully I'll be covering something that's not so serious and kind of like depressing and downing, but I think this is important for everybody to see. Peace.